Many of you might have a little bit of cabin fever right now. Some of that depends on where you live, but things are different for almost all of us right now. For people like me who can be a bit of a homebody when I'm not out chasing bunnies and birds, it's a time to dust off some projects that are photography related, but don't require me to be out in the world. One project that is actually easier to do than the actual procrastination that I've been doing instead is to take these slides and negatives from years and years ago, turn them into stunning digital images, and then make prints from them. I know that some of you have many, many more slides and negatives than I do, although my collection combined with Raymond's is quite a tribute to the analog days of old. Also, Fujifilm sent me some film to try, so I'm saving that for some cool outdoor locations, but right now I'm focusing on film that has been developed, but never actually been scanned, or in the case of these slides, never even printed. A while back, we purchased a Nikon ES2. This is for photographing slides and negatives with a macro lens. There are other solutions for this, both commercial and homebrew. What I like about the Nikon kit is that everything is sized for a few specific Nikon macro lenses. For example, this combination of attachments is specifically for my Nikon 60mm micro lens. I purchased this lens specifically for this project and to date have only photographed fewer than a dozen of my old slides and negatives. We did review the ES2 a while back, and I will put a link to that video in the description of this video, but today's video is not a rehash of that review. Today is all about getting to work and showing you my process of going from developed transparency and negative film to a finished digital print. The first thing I did was sift through some of those old slides and negatives, selecting one of each, a negative from Arches National Park, specifically Delicate Arch, one of the most recognizable features from the park. It's actually even on the Utah license plate. And the next is a Kodachrome transparency from the Arizona desert near Piestewa Peak in Phoenix, Arizona. In this photo is a lot of country and a little bit of city. I don't know the settings that I used for these images, nor how these photos will compare to modern Marvel mirrorless cameras with megapixels to spare, but the exercise today is to preserve them digitally, edit them in my own style, and then maybe create some wall art with my photo printer. Let's see how it goes. First, I am going to use a loaner Nikon D780 for this. It is an f-mount body for my f-mount 60mm lens. Seems like a perfect combination. I would be able to follow this same process with my Nikon Z7 using the FTZ adapter, but the D780 has a cool trick up its sleeve that the Z7 does not. It will reverse the negative image in camera for the film. Now, don't get me wrong, you can certainly do that in Lightroom and other software, but why not take advantage of the D780's native capability for that? I found one reason why you may not want to use the in-camera option. The in-camera negative reversal capability produces JPEGs only. So if you are working through a ton of negatives and you want to simplify the process, then it's a slam dunk. If you want to get the maximum amount of control editing the image, skip the in-camera reversal, shoot the negative, and do the rest in Lightroom. First, the ES2 makes it easy to get the image copied into the camera. Following the directions, I selected the correct adapter for my lens. Sure enough, when you connect it all together and point it towards a light source, the camera snaps into focus and you can get a sweet 14-bit raw image of that slide that you shot decades ago. You, of course, won't get more than is on the film itself, but with the current crop of high megapixel cameras and 14-bit raw, you should get everything that you need to make a fabulous print. The goal here is to get the image how I like it, with the controls that I use every day, with an image that came through my normal process on a digital camera, but in this case, it all started with film. The slide and negative film holders that come with the kit keep everything tidy and easy. With slides, you can even be shooting one while removing the other and replacing it. sliding the holder back and forth. Because I'm impatient, I've even considered purchasing a second film holder so that Raymond or I can be shooting while the other is loading the next bit of cut film. If you've got time on your hands though, don't worry about it. Load, slide the holder across, unload, load the next one, and repeat. After shooting, I'm in Lightroom with the images. Keep in mind, no matter how well you store your film, chances are that you will have dust. There are filters and plugins for it, and there's manual spotting, or perhaps a combination, depending on the condition of the film. For me, I go for the ones that jump out to me, but I don't zoom to 400% to find all the little bits. If a good look at it on the screen passes my very subjective test, I'm not sweating the little stuff. Now, the wonderful part of having that image here in Lightroom is now the control of the image is in my hands and not a lab machine. I've got my controls right here as usual, and as with any of my images, I don't work off of a formula. I might be dehazing one image with a swift move of the slider, while with the next, I might be making much more subtle exposure and contrast adjustments, or maybe even no adjustments at all. For Delicate Arch, I went through a few experiments and went with this look. And for my Arizona desert photo, again, some variations, and then a final decision. It's pretty amazing that I'm taking these old film images into my very new software like this. When these photos were taken many years ago, I don't think Raymond or I dreamed that we would be where we are today in terms of camera technology. But we're not done. I love having the image on my laptop. In fact, I may make one of these my desktop image, but let's get it on paper. So Moab Paper sent me a sample pack to try out some different looks for print, so I am excited to try something new today. They had some suggestions for both black and white and color, and they provide profiles for their papers so that you can get the color that you expect when it comes to the print. And that is important because I'm picky. And if it doesn't come out quite the way I want, here I am in control of the editing and the paper and the print. I certainly send images out to have printed from time to time, but when it comes to my own work, I enjoy this printing process, taking the time and making it the way that I want. So I worked my way through the printing parameters and profiles, and here they are. 2 prints from film images that, as of yesterday, had been boxed away for years. Now they live again, still on the negative, but also now on my digital storage and in a print ready to hang. The bottom line is that if we had not purchased this little gadget, the ES2, and the macro lens to go along with it, making for an easy process of capturing the slide and negative, those slides and negatives would still be sitting in my closet. And if that sounds like you too, check this out. Oh, and my Grand Canyon patrons, whom I send prints and books to every month, expect to see some old school film images from me very soon, edited and printed through this digital process. I will link to that membership down in the description. It's an extra special membership option for those who want to help support my channel while receiving real, honest to goodness images like these ones that I printed today in the mail each month. Now, as we usually do, let's turn it around and get some conversations going in those comments down below. Do you have boxes like I do, full of slides and negatives? Do you have them in digital format? If so, how did you do it? Do you have something fancy like the ES2 or maybe something homemade? And if you haven't digitized your images, is it something that you're wanting to do? Let me know down in the comments. Or if you have any other questions, don't be shy. I'll just be over here, slowly, steadily, turning these into these. Thanks for watching.